Hello everybody, welcome to another weekend here on Arena Online. I'm your host, Travis. You're at Tpull's Corner, and this deck is called the High Princess. And I'm not sure if it's going to work because the mana is very fast and people are always putting down these 1 and 2 drops. My opponents always seem to have the perfect curve for their mana, but I wanted to try and experiment with High Noon and see if we could slow things down. That's a change already. They didn't put down something. So now we're only going to be doing 1 spell a turn. And hopefully that'll keep me from getting overwhelmed by the swarms that have been invading the environment lately. We've got a bit of a poker situation going here. Arena really wants me to have 1 specific card to play. And this is kind of a switch. Arena's making a liar out of me. They have a 1/1 drop and then nothing for 3 turns. I'm not used to having the luxury of so much extra time on my hands. Okay, Appa is the most powerful card we have. And we're almost able to cast it. Well, it's the most expensive card we have. I don't know if I'd say it's the most powerful, but it's got some synergies with the deck that I made. Experimenting with the airbending feature from Avatar. I didn't want to do a pure airbending deck because I've been on the receiving end of one of those. And it's like Airbend Tribal, and there you can set up an infinite loop where you're basically just throwing your own cards back up and then putting cheap cards down. And it takes forever, and it's really boring. Let's see. They're doing a whole lot of nothing. I think if I can do 2 points for every point that they do, I'm going to surpass them pretty quick, so... I just kind of want to see what they're going to do here. Let's break that spell. And then we just... Oh, I can't do two things in a turn. I forgot. I've got my own High Noon out. So I can only do the 1 thing. So we'll do that now. Oh, wait. I have this. Let's do this. If they have a protection spell... Okay. That's kind of... I'm okay with that, actually. We'll go ahead and hit. Hopefully they don't have more than 1 of those. Because I've got enough open energy, I can do something again next turn similar to that. So here we wait. If they've got another enchantment, we're ready. I got a suspicion they have multiple Snakeskin Veils ready. They've been hoarding their land, or are they just going to pop the Fabled Passage? They might do both. But they cast their 1 spell, so I can bounce it. Pop the passage, please. Pop the passage, please. Pop it now. Thank you. We'll let that resolve. And this goes away. Alright, good time. Good time. Oh, that's perfect. So we just keep on with our hits. And now whatever they want to bring back, we just get rid of. That's their turn. I can't do anything now. And Arena is on my side today. I think I only have 2 Essence Scatters in the entire deck. And if they don't try to bring a creature down, then I just get to womp on them. I could even use High Noon to hit them for 5 damage next turn and end the game. So the strategy worked. Let me go in and show you the deck tech, and then we'll play a couple more rounds. We'll see if that was a fluke, or if Travis actually knows what he's doing. Okay, High Princess. High Noon is the first card I based the deck off. The second one is 4 copies of The Princess Takes Flight. This is Enchantment Saga. You exile a target creature. You're usually doing it to the opponent, but it's good to permanently get rid of exile tokens easily enough. The second chapter, target creature control gets +2/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. The flying doesn't matter quite so much for me because I already got all flyers. But the third chapter, you return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Now, there are ways to get rid of this enchantment. You could destroy it yourself, you could bounce it, and that's what we're using the airbending for. And when the creature that's exiled with it, when the enchantment goes away, that creature goes permanently into exile. Unlike Chapter 3, where it gets back to the owner. So our plan is to play these enchantments, get rid of any creatures, and then do something to the enchantment so we can either reuse it or just destroy it and get it out of the way. And that way we don't have to worry about those enemy creatures coming back. Now I made a deck with this card before, but I had Meticulous Excavation, I think was the name of the card. It was a 1-drop, 1 white mana enchantment, and you could spend 3 energy and bring something up as a sorcery back to your hand. So I would just eliminate their creature, I'd exile it, then I'd bring the Princess Takes Flight back up into my hand with that enchantment, and I had infinite single target removal. As long as I had energy, I could do it. And at one point we put a discard enchantment in there too until that got banned. And so I had infinite discard and infinite creature removal, and the deck was so devastating that I didn't ever trot it out again for anybody. I played with it a little bit on my own when I wasn't recording, but it was just so effective. It was really good. So we've lost that ability. So I just wanted to see, is there still room for this kind of strategy in the environment at all? And I thought, well, let's do some bouncing. So I've got 3 copies of Break the Spell. We can use this on our own enchantment, and we get to draw a card. And that's a good way, easy way to get rid of the Princess Takes Flight. We've got 1 annulled to counter target artifact or enchantment spell. I had 3 copies of High Noon in here, but there was too many. I may have started with 4 in my playtesting. It was too much. So just a couple, even though it means it might come in late in the game, I found that having an extra copy when we didn't need it was just too detrimental to the overall deck. I've got a 61st card in here. It's Personify. I got one of the Lorwyn cards. It's a blink card. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Plus, we get a Shapeshifter, which are probably just going to be a token blocker, right? But I only have like 10 creatures. So this allows me to maybe, for just 2 mana, exile it when they're about to destroy it and save it. We saw me use the 2 Essence Scatters already. Those are clutch. For the Failed Fordings, we can do this to get rid of tokens from the enemy. We can use it to save us from a lethal hit. Or we can use it to permanently exile one of the target creatures and still bring our enchantment back up into our hand, and we can play the saga another time. 2 Magdi and Itless Sky Snares. This is from the Through the Omen Pass, which is the online arena version of the Spider-Man set, because Wizards of the Coast didn't get the rights for the digital rights for the Spider-Man cards. So they gave us different art, they gave us different names, they tried to do an in-universe. It worked out great for me. I prefer it this way, because the flavor of the Spider-Man cards was terrible, and these are slightly better. But artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter tapped, so maybe that'll help me against haste decks. Air Nomad Legacy, since I have 10 creatures are all flying. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. Plus we got a clue token that we can use to draw a card. So this card kind of sort of replaces itself, just a little bit of energy. 2 copies of No More Lies for a counterspell. 2 of the Airbending Lessons, so we can airbend our Enchantment Saga back and use it again to get rid of other creatures. This also replaces itself by drawing a card. These draw card type things that are in the deck are essential just because I tend to flood out a lot with this deck. Assuming that Arena's not land starving me, and it's usually one or the other. Aang Swiss Savior, we can bring it in on the opponent's turn, flashed in, which is cool when we have High Noon out. It's got flying 2/3. When it enters, we get to airbend one other target creature or spell. It could be our stuff, it could be the opponent's. So yet another way to blink our enchantment saga. If we get enough energy, we could transform Aang into the Aang and La Ocean's Fury you see to the right. End up with a 5/5 creature with reach and trample. Plus, whenever it attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. 4 copies of Empyrean Eagle. Other creatures with flying get +1/+1, so they just build upon themselves a lot. Another Aang, the Last Airbender, legendary human avatar, 3/2 with flying. You airbend up to one other target non-land permanent when he enters, and we're ignoring the last part. Whenever you cast a lesson spell, Aang gets lifelink. I did not include any lessons, so we're not taking advantage of that part of the spell. 4 board wipes, 3 Day of Judgment, and 1 Fumigate, so if they come at me with a hair deck and they have like a dozen creatures, I can just gain a lot of life. More expensive, 1 Cloud Blazer, costs 5 for a 2/2, but flying, it gives you 2 life and 2 cards to draw. And finally, Apple Oil Sky Bison, another legendary, 4/4 with flying. Whenever it enters or attacks, you can either have a creature you control gain flying. Again, we're ignoring that. I already have flying on everybody. Maybe I'd end up with the Changeling. I could give that to the Changeling token from Personify. So we're usually looking to airbend. Airbend another target non-land permanent you control. Ideal for Princess Takes Flight. I've got a lot of lands in here that are special. Agna Kella to draw a card, then discard a card. 2 Hidden Cataracts to use Discover 4. 2 Mysterized Village in case I come up with a counterspell deck. 2 of the Restless Anchorage to get to these 2/3 white and blue bird creatures with flying. And 4 of the Mystic Monasteries. This is my splash of white because for 5 you need 1, or splash of red, sorry, you need 1 red for this to sacrifice the enchantment, deal 5 damage to any target. When you're done with 1 spell a turn and you're ready to cast multiples, that's when you get rid of it at your leisure. And of course 2 Demolition Fields to get rid of their specialty lands. Typically in my decks I've gone up from 1 Demolition land to 2, because I'm coming up against a lot more players that are playing all these special lands. Wizards of the Coast could spend a set or 2 taking a break from those, but they are including so many trick lands. There's so much in the environment. It's very hard for anybody making a deck to not include non-basic lands now. Unless you're doing like mono red aggro and that's all you care about. Alright. We'll put down the tap land for our first. I will take that spell. We can now have fuel next turn for either High Noon or No More Lies. I think we do High Noon. Kind of hate that. What do they take? I mean, if I didn't know any better, if I didn't know what the Princess Takes Flight... Oh, they took it. Never mind. They know what it's about. They know what's going on. Alright. They do get to see I have No More Lies. So they're not going to cast a spell, right? Are they going to try and save up till they can afford everything? Only 1 other basic island will take it. Hopefully they don't have removal. Let's try and see if we can get rid of the bat. No. We got rid of us instead. And we missed a land drop, which I think I told you. It's one or the other. Wait till it's almost our turn, then we pop that up. Then we just pass the turn. Now they can only cast one spell. They think they've got enough to pay for the No More Lies, but they can't pay for Essence Scatter. There's no option to pay against that. And so we just pass again. And now we have No More Lies. And they've got to save up a lot of land. But we really do need to draw some land ourselves. And they lose a creature removal card. Finally, we got a land. How about that? We just need one red now so that we can trigger High Noon when we're ready. And this is this like a purely removal deck? Let's go ahead and try something because we have failed forwarding now. We can bounce something. We can't bounce this creature if they're going to remove it during our turn. But we can bounce whatever they put out. So yeah, yet another removal spell. Yet another removal spell. How about a High Noon for you? Let's have two of those. Now we can feel the High Noon. That is good. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, and we still have 2. Excellent. Let's go ahead and hit him for 5. And we'll get rid of the one thing they know we have. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's put this down. We might as well, you know, get rid of all of the removal they've got rather than just discarding our creatures. I guess we can do that. Take what you like. Strange. They're doing a good job on drawing all their lands. Ho ho ho! I guess I should have activated that. Let's see, let's try this. We wait for that. We bounce it back. Sure, I'll take the land, why not? And we pass the turn. Made him waste yet another removal card. I mean, how many removal cards do they have? That's 4, 5, 6, 7, basically 8 removal cards. We're still waiting to find out what their win combo is, what their win con is. I think we just do another Empyrean Eagle. There's so much removal in this deck. We just want to draw it out. Save the few creatures we have when we can. And they have 2. That fizzles so we don't get to draw our card either. We need more cards. But that one can't fizzle. 13 lands. Nothing really for... Well, we could do this now. Why not? Put in the hand. Another one. Airband our own card. Can I bring this out? Sweet. Now we got two. Do you have two pieces of removal in your hand? Sure, take what you want. They get rid of Princess Takes Flight. Okay. Is there a creature that you're going to throw out here at any point? That costs them more life. I'm okay with that. And, oh, look at that. Another removal card. I am so surprised. Okay, so we're going to draw a card. And discard a card. This eye goes away because they don't know what the new card was, so... As far as they knew, I just discarded the only No More Lies card that I have. Do we need any more land? We need that land. Okay. How many creatures have they gotten rid of mine? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only got like 4 creatures left. And because I've done good at drawing stuff, I need to kill them. I can't just wait for them to run me out of cards. That's the third bat. This seems like overkill, but that's not going to stop me from doing it. Okay. I got 7 cards, dude. Yeah, make me discard anything you want. I've got extra stuff. I've got duplicates. They get rid of the board wipe. Why do they care about board wipe so much? They've got no creatures. Okay, here we could save this. So the flyer gains flying. They learn to wait until I attack before they cast the removal spell. What is going on? What 4 cards are in their hand that are not removal cards? I think we just keep that in our hand. I wonder if because they know what I've got in my hand, they're saving up and they have like 3 or 4 removal cards? Or do they just have completely useless stuff in their hand now? See, this is why I'd like a little button here that we can both press and agree to show what's left in our hands at the end of the match. They had, it seemed like 100% removal and a couple of bats. And then we get to the very end, and it's like, okay, you got 6 mystery cards, and they were not useful to you at all. Why not? Our next opponent is No Name. Unfortunately, my first 2 lands are both tapped. Well, I could put the white down and then Demolition Field and still get High Noon in. And discard is actually usually pretty effective against this deck. So if it's a lot more heavily, yeah. If they get rid of a no, what? Oh no, they can't, right? It's artifact or creature. They were just taking a look. They don't actually get a card out of that. Okay, let's do High Noon. And all my stuff is still kind of tapped, basically, isn't it? Yeah, let's do a second High Noon. We got too much good creatures right now. See, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. We got a bunch of good stuff. I don't really feel like I can do much against this just yet. I need more untapped mana. Seriously? 4 turns, 4 creatures, and they don't even need land anymore. They're just set. Alright. We can do this. I guess we get rid of one of the flyers. That is their spell for the turn, yeah. Let's go ahead and break this spell now. We can cast that on their turn. And at least get something out of this. We're drawing through. I kind of needed something else here. I think we get rid of the Priestess. They still got us. I can bounce that back up, but what do I do for the next turn when I've only got 2 life points left? I am not getting my, I'm not getting my board wipe. It's kind of sad that they only have 3 spells. Okay, if I do that, no, that's not enough. So I have to do this. Four board wipes, and Arena's not letting me have any of them. They don't really need that 4th land, do they? Saves me from lethal for this 1 turn. And we flooded out with land. So in this case, I had High Noon and it still didn't help me. They still had perfect mana curve. They had such cheap cards, they never ran into trouble. And I did not get any one of the 4 board wipes that I had for just such an occasion. And I did have a way to remove some more stuff, but I needed more time, and I didn't have it. In this case, we put down the tap blue first, because we want Essence Scatter available on the second turn. Now they can sacrifice this and bring that card back, which they might be willing to do. We got the most expensive card already, so we need to sort of save up the land still. We're creating just the one. Okay. We could slow them down with that, right? Just make sure there's no haste stuff going on. This should trick out a removal card. No. They're getting plenty of life gain, so they're gonna like that. Ah, there's the removal card. Okay. I'm gonna be greedy because I only have 2 of the board wipes right now, so we're gonna give them a chance to put more creatures down. Those are not more creatures. But they can't sacrifice anything, right? So just get rid of them all now. Gain 4 life back. And these cards seem like they're really good against me. But let's do this. We're also going to do this. I could use some of my break the enchantment type stuff, huh? Okay, we'll just do Day of Judgment. We're not going to save the Princess Takes Flight. And we can still counter another enchantment if they have a second Impact Tremors ready. They're actually outpacing us on land. They probably do not have 24 lands. This type of deck, you can see the most expensive thing so far is 3. And they're just bringing that puppy back. And now they're digging for more stuff. I like the life gain and the card draw, so we're taking this. They might have a shock and want to get rid of it. Aha! That's going to come in handy. Look at them flood out with land. Should we take the last island? The one basic island I have. I want to keep the annul ready for next turn, so we're just going to destroy that enchantment. I kind of feel bad for them with all that land. 3, 4, 5, 6. This should be good. Just give ourselves flying again. And we've got one for a null if we need to. Not really anything that we need to be bouncing right now. The No More Lies is probably going to be useless unless they get a pump-up creature at some point. High Noon means they can't cast that a second time. They can only do something once each turn. We are going to attack, but not cast a spell. We see if this is the... Yep, that's the spell they cast. We'll let them cast the spell, but they're not going to get another goblin because we're ready to get rid of High Noon. So now they can't attack. And we can now cast more than one spell a turn. So everything's coming up aces. Again, these type of creatures not worth bouncing. There's no extra effect or benefit from bouncing them. That's got haste. We'll just bounce that. That works out perfect. And one of the drawbacks of mono red, unless they're putting dragons in there, they can't stop an Air Force. We'll do one more. Not the worst showing. The deck's doing okay. I'm not sure if I've been able to fully demonstrate the effectiveness of the Princess's Waiting. I've had some interesting games where they were creature heavy, and I was able to recycle that saga quite a bit. So not nearly as devastating as the previous version we were able to do in a previous rotation of cards. But High Noon, I feel like, is holding up pretty well with this particular strategy. We're going to do High Noon first, and then we hold up with No More Lies. It's an elf deck. Gross. Alright, we're going to pass. I need more lands. If they're doing the perfect mana curve, they have a 4-drop. Yeah, I guess we just get rid of that. They can only cast the one spell, so that is gone. I think we're doing this. And let's go ahead and draw a card and see what we can get. This might work out. Let's see, one other... Okay, so we can start exiling stuff. This is good to exile because we don't want this card in the graveyard and then they get another one out and get a little loop of bringing their loyalists back all the time. If they destroy that with a spell, it's kind of a wasted spell. They'd be doing me a favor. Okay. Let's go bring in Aang the Last Airbender. Bring this back up to our hand. And they can start blighting stuff. Oh, never mind. They're just going to destroy it. Okay. Let's go ahead. We'll do this. And I'm just not getting more lands, am I? Bring this back up. They're not casting a single spell. Okay, we can save this if they have removal. And we get the chump blocker out of it. Oh, they tapped out to do it too. Perfect. Keep 2 blockers, just in case they have 1 removal spell. I'm down to 3 life. I can't really take a lot of chances here. They got rid of the tapped one. That's kind of weird to me. Oh, that's a good one. It's for you fill the hand. Maybe find some land. That one I can surveil. This one I can just scry immediately. More land. No, I'm going to pass up that land. I've got the 1 splash of red I need to use that if I want to. If they don't have a board wipe, they're stuck with single spell removal. Why do we keep taking out the tapped ones? And let's go ahead and do this as well. And then we will swing in, since we got 5 life now. Never mind. That was going to be 9 points. Alright. That's a pretty good showing overall. A lot of tap lands, so a little bit of a problem that time. Every now and then you see I didn't have 4 more lives because it's way too easy to end up with them just drawing tons of lands and being able to counter that whenever they want. But High Noon really restricted people a lot. And when you have just a handful of counter spells, a lot of what I have besides my 10 creatures is instants that can either counter what they're doing with artifacts, enchantments, or creatures specifically, or add bounce spells. So the tokens aren't doing much good against me overall, and I'm still able to cast a couple of spells through the course of the 2 turns when, unless they're doing removal spells, they can only do the 1. We were able to recycle Princess Takes Flight a couple of times, and there was at least 1 match in there where having the board wipes really saved my bacon. So overall, I think I'm happy with the deck. It is, if somebody has a more pure tribal discard and somebody knows what they're doing, the discard can really be disadvantageous for this deck because a lot of it is predicated on waiting for the opponent when High Noon is out to try and do something, and we're ready with these. If they can see everything that's on our hand, stuff like that, they can be ready for it. So as always, I open your open the floor to your comments to see what kind of things you would suggest for changing. Maybe there's a different way I could do this where there's not quite as many tap lands. You know, I'm always up for better education on the mana base. But as always, we end by asking you to like and subscribe, and we will have a new deck for you next time. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a good weekend.